Okay, so I was trying to come up with content that people actually care about instead of us just making jokes. So I was looking up some things on the internet, and I was curious what you think some of the biggest challenges facing new farmers or small farmers or whatever in your experience.
Being able to handle the workload of a production farm and being able to interface with the public that's used to just going to the grocery store for everything, and especially in our area, considering that we had very small or non-existent local food community for the last recent few decades.
Right on. So, some of the things that I kind of was thinking about, and maybe you could expand on if I bring them up, like watering, labor, infrastructure costs, shipping costs, inflation, weather, all that kind of stuff.
Watering, a ever-growing and larger production garden goes. As a hobby farmer, to start with, typically we're running off of a garden hose off of the home well, and that's just not very practical when you're talking about 2 acres of space these days. We had to put quite a bit of money into developing a pond to do some overhead watering, and so we can provide proper irrigation to the whole field at once instead of one sprinkler at a time. That was a huge hurdle that came with a cost, which segues me into the next topic that was brought to me was the newfound, well, at least relatively recent, inflated costs that has come with just about everything in our daily lives. I would say that farming has been hugely effective, because it turns out that while the government claims a less than 10% inflation rate, things that are highly sought out or needed for survival, especially when it comes to farming, have had a close to a 50 to 100% increase in price on average. At least periodically. There has been some fluctuations in certain areas, but for one instance, the first greenhouse that we got up that was of large scale cost us $22,000. And we did get some money back through the NRCS EQIP grant, which was nice, but they didn't raise them out, and there is talk about them raising it this year. But the cost of doing that same exact greenhouse now is $36,000 to $38,000. That's a huge increase. I mean, I think the numbers just going through in my head is almost 50% right there, and that's just greenhouses. Other things in general, seed costs have gone up. Scarcity for seeds have been an issue because of the demand for this sort of thing has gone up, and also just supply issues all in all, and cost. There has been farms that have shut down that used to produce certain genetic lines that don't do it anymore. So we've had to change our genetics, which is fine and interesting in itself, but it becomes challenging when you find a genetic line that meets the needs of your climate and your growing styles, and then you no longer can get it anymore.
Right on. Do you think that labor is a challenge that we are facing?
Absolutely. There's endless work to do on the farm, and our area specifically has had a labor shortage in general. And farming is one of those things that historically has been hired out to the lowest bidder or replaced by machinery, and that's just something we don't have access to as a small scale farm. We don't have large swaths of people looking to get into the industry as a laborer on a farm, which is something we're hoping to change as more interest and more education gets across about the benefits of learning how to work on a farm. It's good exercise. You get some good sun. You know, we're in a vitamin deficient area. That's always nice. Also, the skills you learn are invaluable. You learn how to plant on my farm. You'll be able to learn how to plant on your own farm or homestead. And I think that's a really great thing, and it provides an outlet for us to be able to pass on what we've learned as kind of a secondary benefit, because not only are we hoping to get laborers so we can expand our production for our local communities, for local food, we can expand our knowledge base as a local community in general.
So what would be, I guess, some advice that you would give someone who is interested in starting a small farm? Like, I mean, I guess what's the first thing that you would tell them, or the first piece of advice that you would give them? There's a lot of seeds in there.
Our 3 black jalapeno seeds. Now they're gone. We're not doing those this year.
But yeah, what could you say to motivate someone, or what advice could you give to them to, kind of pump them up to get them into farming or gardening or anything?
My favorite aspect of the farm, honestly, besides having ultra fresh, delicious food and meeting so many awesome people at the farmers markets, is that I get to work from home in an active environment. I know a lot of people in general like remote jobs have become more popular and desirable in the recent years, and there's a reason for that. It's nice to be home. I myself can't sit in the chair long enough to do a remote office position, so this works perfect for me because I can work from home, and I get all my daily vitamin D, once again, my daily exercise, and I get to see my kids, and my kids get to work on the farm with me, which means that they're not only making a little income for themselves at a young age if they so desire, but also they get to learn the ins and outs of how farming works, which is also a great thing to pass on to your children. To know where your food comes from is a super important thing, especially in today's society where we seem vastly disconnected from our food sources. Also, further note on that, I know myself, I'm especially capable of doing farming because I grew up with it. If I didn't grow up with it, the amount of work necessary to get into farming, it seems so daunting and so challenging, and kind of scary to just jump right in. And having a little bit of background knowledge is great. So I guess to sum it up, my favorite thing is that I get to be close to my kids and help teach them and build them as people.
So, what are you planting? And
currently, we're planting peppers.
He's being generous. I'm not doing anything.
The seeds are a large, sweet pepper. It's a frying pepper called. See if I can pronounce this. Aconcagua. It's kind of a weird name. It's a Mexican frying pepper.
Oh, these are awesome.
And they are basically like a large, light colored green pepper.
They almost look like banana peppers.
They look like an extra large banana pepper that's a little bit more green in tint. They don't get yellow full on until they're really, really ripe. And they're delicious. They're basically like a monster bell pepper.
Didn't we grow them on accident that one time?
The first time we discovered frying peppers was a seed that had been mixed in with a different variety, and we never knew. We just found giant sweet peppers and had no idea where they came from.
And Ashley, Ten Harmsel, was the one that told us it was a frying pepper, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ashley, of course, being as knowledgeable and awesome as she is, helped us discover this as well, and we've been doing a little bits of them here and there since then.
Right on. Any advice to people for starting their peppers?
Start them early in the north.
Nailed it. Those are the secrets of farming.
They really like to be transplanted. So they get to a certain size. Sorry, I'm trying to get stuff done while I'm being interviewed here.
You're fine.
Keep them warm to germinate. They are a tropical plant essentially. They like to be 75 degrees or hotter. That's really important for germination and then for growth as well. They tend to not do well under 40 degrees at all.
So last question. Look at the camera.
Okay.
Why are you so cute? Okay, thanks for watching.